In this lesson we will be dealing with chords in the key of C, and we get the chords for the key of C from the C scale. And all a chord means is you're going to play 3 notes at one time. You might have done that already, probably, one time or another. It makes a nice sound. But again, we're taking all the white keys and we're excluding the black ones. And C is our main note. So what I did, this is a little music theory, but hopefully I'm explaining it in a way that is simple for you to understand. But I use Roman numerals here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the 7 scale degrees in the key of C. And if you look down here at the bottom row, here we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, which is the C scale. If I went another note, it would be C, and that would be repeating the 1 chord again. But anyway, we're going to take the 1 chord in the key of C. Alright? So we have I'm going to take a middle C, and we're going to be using right hand for this. So take a middle C, and then above that I want you to play an E, which means it's a third away from the C. Remember that when we did intervals? A third up from C is an E, because chords are built in thirds. And then a third up from the G, a third up from the E is a G. So there we have formed a 3-note chord, a 1 chord in the key of C. Alright? So C's 1. Now let's go to the 2 chord. And there's a reason I wrote the 2 in Roman numerals in lowercase. And we will get to that later. It has to do with major and minor chords. But for now we're just going to call this a D chord. It's really a D minor, but let's move up and build another chord. Alright? But in this is called root position. When you play a chord in root position, the bottom note is the name of the chord. So if I say C chord, you automatically should think C, E, G. Alright? Some form of C, E, G. And that can take many different forms, but here's the most basic. With the C on the root, the E in the middle, and the G on top. Now, the next chord, a D chord, we just move everything up 1, and we have a D with an F above that, with an A above that. So we did thirds again. D up a third to F, up a third to A, and then we have a D minor chord, and that is the 2 chord in the key of C. In another key it would be something else, but in the key of C it's the 2 chord. Now let's move up again to the E minor chord, and it's the 3 chord. So E up a third to G, up a third to B. That's the 3 chord. All right, that's minor 2. Minor chords sound kind of sad. Can you hear that? Kind of sad. Major chords sound happy. And there's a reason for that we'll get to in later lessons. 4 chord is major, so it's another happy chord. So we move up again to an F. And again, it could be any F. I could play this F chord, or as long as I have F on the bottom. And then I go up to an A and a C above that. And as far as fingering, the traditional way is to use thumb, middle finger, and pinky. But if you want to do it this way or this way, that's really fine to do that. So F, A, C is the 4 chord. So if I say play an F chord, F, A, C should come to mind eventually. I know you're just learning this right now. 5 chord is G, B, D. So moving up again, or actually I can do it down here. Let me come down here and do it here. G, B above that, D above that. That's the 5 chord. I can play it all over the piano. It's still always the 5 chord in the key of C. The 2 chord is always a D chord in the key of C. Wherever I want to play it, it's still 2 in the key of C. Alright, then we get to 6. We have a minor chord. See, it's lowercase, so it's going to sound sad. Here or here is fine, but it's A, C, E. So A, up a third to C, up a third to E. Alright? Now the last chord's kind of weird. It's not one we will use a lot, but let's go ahead and learn it anyway. And it's not major or minor, it's a diminished chord. It's going to sound really unstable, but it's the 7th chord. And we're going to have B on the bottom, up a third to D, up a third to F. Hear how unstable that sounds? That's the 7th chord. It's not used very much, but and the little circle there means diminished. That's the quality of the chord. It's a diminished chord. So 7 chords are diminished. All right. Now this is what we call, some people call the triad vocabulary, and it would be good to kind of study this. You need to know if I say C chord that you can go C, E, G. So you can go C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F. I don't know if I got any of those wrong, but you want that to become an automatic in your mind, because to get the other chords to play in other keys, all we will do is add flats or sharps to these notes. You see, for example, I could take a C chord, all I do is add a flat to the E, and I got a C minor chord. I'm playing in C minor. See, or we can add a flat to the G and make that a diminished chord. So we can have all kinds of combinations of flats and sharps. But this is the triad vocabulary. There's only 7 letters, and we'll add flats and sharps to them to make the different qualities of the chords. Anyway, the point of this lesson is to get really used to the root position chords on the white keys, the key of C. So what I'd like you to do is just start with a C, E, G, play a root position, and go up so far, and then come back down. So you just really get used to that feel of those notes under your fingers. Okay, and then we can try lesson 6.